All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to another video. And tonight, I'm going to start tonight's video off with a bit of an apology. One, this video is a little bit late, which is just because I've been wrapped up with other things. And secondly, just another apology for the fact that I'm not doing a couple of streams for right now. There's something that I'm working on that is important, so I am just going to be off today and yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I will be returning on Tuesday for the Kadaj coming out on on JP. So that's the kind of bad news / sorry out of the way. Now let's talk about today's topic. So today's topic is about just the Ashen Mont and Spring June problem, because it is essentially at this point a problem. You look at just how meta warping these characters have been in the last little bit on JP and Global. Global only having June is kind of a great thing, though, because obviously you can still fight back against it pretty capably with the Thunder element. The Thunder element is, enough to really put up a fight, thankfully. But on JP, a little different. Ashen Mont came out and essentially covers a lot of the weakness that Spring June had, which is elemental weakness, because Lord knows these two characters don't have too terribly much in the way of weaknesses. And I have been, essentially capitalizing that on it for a little while now. My Ashen Mont is already at 33 reincarnations, and to be just hammer this point home, I haven't felt the need to really boost a character, because most of the time performance feels a little bit shaky to me, and I just don't think it's worth spending the resources. But lately I've just been trading in a ton of my resources for the simple reason that this is an incredibly powerful character, and I've been leveraging it through Guild War, Arena, and everywhere else. And other characters just cannot compete with it. Even the Advent Children characters, Cloud, really benefits just being on these teams. He is definitely stronger than a lot of other characters, but he still falls a little bit behind both Ashen Mont and June, and he's just better with those two characters. And that's the way it was. We talked about this in my previous team building video, which I'm glad so many people ended up watching. I'll have to do more of those every week, maybe. But ad revenues aside, let's talk about solutions. So the solution to this problem is pretty obvious to me, which is the most basic thing that they could do in relatively short fashion, because rebalancing a bunch of old abilities is quite difficult. And I'm not going to say that it's something that's necessarily really simple, or that it could be so simple as just improving by giving every old character an upgrade to new abilities. Those would have to be thought out and implemented in a regular fashion. However, it's also not theoretically that difficult, depending on how much they want to increase those characters. But a Master Ability 3 seems like it would be the most simple way of getting a lot of characters caught up very quickly, since so much of what Ashen Mont and Spring June have beneficial over a lot of other 4th years characters is just how many stats they have. You could do that really quickly with a lot of other 4th year characters. Now, one reason that I'm advocating for just a simple stat boost is because it's quick. It would rectify some gripes that a lot of old term players have. It's just not super fair right now with how much of a boost these two characters have. They're essentially tanks with the full offensive capabilities, and even some of the ridiculous support abilities that we've seen on support style characters, all wrapped into one little bundle. So increasing the stats of older characters would be a way to close the gap, but also would keep the new characters strong. I'm not going to pretend for an instant that I don't know what's going on here. Power creep is a regular part of every single ongoing game, because otherwise how do you make things feel exciting? You can implement new abilities, but new abilities take longer to code, implement, make sure there aren't issues and whatnot, and we've seen quality of life with some of the stuff that Gumi has rushed out. So that's probably not a good decision they're really focused too much on like mechanics all the time. That and doing stuff like this is exciting. Ashen Mont and Spring Doom were exciting for a little bit. They were frustrating for a lot of people, sure, but that's a lot of not being able to get them. This stuff like this, when we experience power jumps, can be a real meta shakeup, and it's usually really bad at the start. And we've seen this in like historically in Gumi from things like FFPE. When a new power level comes along, older characters are left behind. Usually the thing there, though, is that there's more PvE content to soften the blow, because Gumi, or, well, Alum in terms of FFPE, has done this in the past where when FFPE would experience a huge power jump, content would stay about the same difficulty level for a while, maybe with a new level introduced, but for the most part, it wasn't super detrimental for players because you could just play the PvE stuff and PvP was auto anyway, so it just didn't really matter. But you look at this where PvP is the main focus of Wotv, and it's a problem. It's a problem that needs to be addressed sooner than later, which is why I want to advocate for just a simple Master Ability 3, increase the stats. Like, it's not even anything else. Like, we see Master Ability 2s that are just percentages. Here I'm just talking about a raw stat boost by a set amount that would be reasonable and fair, maybe about 60% of what Ashen Mont and Spring Doom have. Because Spring Doom and Ashen Mont need to stay powerful. They can't be nerfed at this. That's completely good. And if we're going to do any kind of general ability increase, that's just going to take really, really long, and we're going to see them in waves, and it's going to be too irrelevant by the time we get caught up. Not only that, but it would be really easy to implement Master Ability 3s across the board, especially if it was just a specific set of stats for each job class. So, for instance, if you're in the Knight and Sword group, you would get, higher HP, maybe some defense, maybe some attack, like all reasonable numbers here. But that way we wouldn't also have to worry about, collaboration characters, as it could be just rolled out over an entire group. And that, again, would make it really, really fast. Also, just to throw it out there, even though Gumi will hate this idea, I would say that it would also be a good influx of potential resources. Even if you made it 10 Vizier a piece, I don't know, label it as an anniversary or a peace winning gift. Like, given how many characters and vision cards are coming out at more rapid succession with more power, you might as well just do it, because some people are going to luck out, but most people aren't, given the rates in this game and how many off banners show up. True. So yeah, if we are talking about like fixing the problem in a really quick time frame, I think that's just the best way to do it. You could do it longer, but there are so many issues to do with the pool of characters that we have, where older characters that I think are completely irrelevant to the game, such as, original Mashery or Rob, other than maybe Trust Masteries and, some people liking these characters still and running them just for the hell of it, they're completely irrelevant and should be relegated to essentially the Moogle shop, which they kind of are already, but even more so. They should just be gotten out of the pool. Old characters like this, this is just such a sticking point that I don't think benefits the game. It really doesn't, because no matter how many new players you can get into the game, they always come asking old players. They don't go to official sources, because official sources just aren't as trustworthy when they're constantly selling stuff. So most people will not do that. Most people, hell, you look at just the JP live stream, it's always about 3,000 people, and they're not new players per se. A lot of them are, pretty much most of that is just older players who are just coming for the information. That's what they want. And maybe the personalities, but anyway, I digress. At this point, older characters should be kind of gotten out of the pool, and there should be a look just in general what is going on with older characters and maybe relegating them, especially when there's this much of a power difference now. But I think in the meantime, my solution of Master Ability 3 is just being a chunk of stats is at least a bit of a bandage to come up with some better options. Heck, I mean, I think you could probably take all of the turn 3 abilities in the game and push them up to turn 4 on every character, and it really wouldn't make that big of a difference since new abilities are so much more encompassing of so many different things. So anyway, yeah, apologize for the streams being a little bit off, but we'll be back tomorrow. My solution for this, and curious what if you have a different solution. It might be better than mine because, you know, sometimes we got to crowdsource ideas to find the best way forward. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Take care.